Hello friends, welcome to the Anatomy Hub. So today we will study about the fourth ventricle. So for the proper understanding of the anatomy of the fourth ventricle, it is very necessary that some of the features of the gross anatomy of the cerebellum and of related structures that should be clearly understood. That here you can see the cerebellum, that the cerebellum, it is intimately related to the ventricle, that is your fourth ventricle, and the upper part of the ventricle, it is related to the superior medullary velum that you will find over here. When you will trace inferiorly and posteriorly, the velum that merges into the white matters of the cerebellum. The lower part of the ventricle, that is actually related to the nodule. If you remember that the nodule that actually forms the anterior most part of the inferior vermis. So immediately lateral to the nodule, there is a tonsil of the cerebellum. If you lift the tonsil away, then you can see that the nodule is continuous laterally with a membrane that is called the inferior medullary velum. So here you can see the inferior, or you can see the posterior medullary velum. So the inferior velum actually that merges into the white matter of the cerebellum, that you can observe here how the inferior medullary velum that merges with the white matter of the cerebellum. The inferior medullary velum that has a thickened free edge which connects the nodule to the flocculus. So this edge is the peduncle of the flocculus. In the intact brain, this peduncle is very near the posterior surface of the medulla, and it is separated from the inferior cerebellar peduncle only by a narrow interval. Now we will consider the anatomy of the fourth ventricle. So the fourth ventricle, that is a space situated dorsal to the pons and to the upper part of the medulla and ventral to the cerebellum. The ventricle that may be considered as having a cavity, a floor, a roof, and the lateral walls. So the cavity of the fourth ventricle is very continuous inferiorly with the central canal, and superiorly with the cerebral aqueduct, and it communicates with the subarachnoid space through three apertures, one median and two lateral. So a number of extensions from the main cavity, are actually, you can see here, largest of these are mainly the two lateral recesses that you can see here, and one on each side, and each lateral recess that passes laterally in the interval between the inferior cerebellar peduncle ventrally and the peduncle of the flocculus dorsally. The lateral extremity of the recess that reaches the flocculus, and at the extremity the recess opens into the subarachnoid space as the lateral aperture. Another recess in the middle line, that is called the median dorsal recess, that you can observe here. It extends into the white core of the cerebellum and lies just cranial to the nodule. So immediately the lateral recess that projects immediately lateral to the nodule, another recess that projects dorsally, that you can observe here on either side above the inferior medullary velum, and this recess is known as the lateral dorsal recess. Then here you will see the floor. First we will consider about the floor. So this floor also known as the rhomboid fossa because of its shape that you can see. The floor of the fourth ventricle can be divisible into an upper triangular part that is formed by the posterior surface of the pons and a lower triangular part that is formed by the upper part of the posterior surface of the medulla. And you will find here an intermediate part at the junction of the medulla and the pons. The intermediate part that is prolonged laterally over the inferior cerebellar peduncle is the floor of the lateral recess. So its surface is marked by the presence of delicate bundles of transversely running fibers. So these bundles of fibers are known as the stria medullaris. So the entire floor that is actually divided into right and left halves by a sulcus. So this sulcus is known as your median sulcus. So next to the middle line there is a longitudinal elevation that is called as the median eminence. The eminence that is bounded laterally by a sulcus. So this sulcus is known as the sulcus limitans. So the region lateral to the sulcus limitans is the vestibular area which overlies the vestibular nuclei, and the vestibular area that is lies partly on the pons and partly on the medulla. So the pontine part of the floor that shows some features that is close relation to the sulcus limitans and the median eminence. So the uppermost part of the sulcus limitans that overlies an area that is bluish in color and is called as the locus ceruleus. Deep to the locus ceruleus there is the nucleus ceruleus which extends upward into the tegmentum of the midbrain, and it is regarded as the reticular formation, means it is the part of the reticular formation. And just lower down there is a depression, and see this depression is known as the, so this depression is known as the superior fovea. At this level the median eminence that shows a swelling, so the swelling is your facial colliculus. So the facial colliculus that already you know about this thing, in we have discussed in our facial nerve, that in pons there will find the abducens nucleus and you will find the facial nucleus, motor nucleus, and that actually turns around the fibers from this nucleus turns around the abducens nerve, and which makes a internal genu, and that internal genu that makes here at the floor of the fourth ventricle as a facial colliculus. So the medullary part of the floor that also shows some features that you can see here, very much relation to the median eminence and to the sulcus limitans. The sulcus limitans that is marked by a depression over here. So this depression that is known as your inferior fovea. Descending from the inferior fovea there is a sulcus that runs obliquely, that you can observe here towards the middle line, and that divides the median eminence into two triangles. These are the hypoglossal triangle and the vagal triangle. So hypoglossal triangle will be medially and vagal triangle will be laterally. So laterally between the vagal triangle that is above and the gracile tubercle that you can observe here. So this is your gracile tubercle and this is your cuneate tubercle. So in between the gracile tubercle and the vagal triangle there is a small area. This area is called as area prostrema. So this is your area prostrema between the gracile tubercle and the vagal triangle. So finally, each inferolateral margin of the ventricles that is marked by a narrow white ridge of the tinea. So the right and left tinea that meet at the inferior angle of the floor to form a small fold. That fold is called as the obex. So the term obex is often used to denote the inferior angle itself, because this rhomboid fossa it has four angles: the superior angle, two lateral angle and the inferior angle. So this inferior angle is known as the obex. Now here in this picture we will see the lateral walls. So the upper part of each lateral wall that is actually formed by the superior cerebellar peduncle, and the lower part that is formed by the inferior cerebellar peduncle and by the gracile and the cuneate tubercles. The roof of the fourth ventricle that is actually tent shape and can be divided into upper and lower parts which meet at the apex that you can observe here. So the apex that extends into the white core of the cerebellum. The upper part of the roof that is formed by the superior cerebellar peduncle and the superior medullary velum. The inferior part of the roof that is devoid of the nervous tissue, that you have to remember in most of its extent, and it is formed by the membrane that consisting of the ependyma and a double fold of the pyometer that you can see in your green, which mainly the holds the tela choroidea of the fourth ventricle. So here you can see the tela choroidea. So that tela choroidea that forms here the as a choroid plexus. So laterally on the each side this membrane that reaches and fuses with the inferior cerebellar peduncle. So the lower part of the membrane that has a large aperture here you will find. So this aperture is known as your median aperture of the fourth ventricle, through which the ventricle it communicates with the subarachnoid space in the region of the cerebellomedullary system. So in this region of the lateral recess, the membrane that is prolonged laterally and helps to form the wall of the recess. The inferior medullary velum that forms a small part of the roof in the margin and in the region of the lateral dorsal recess. So you can note here that some authors they also describe the entire membranous structure that forming the lower part of the roof of the fourth ventricle is the inferior medullary velum, the nodule that is intimately related to the roof of the ventricle in the region of the median dorsal recess. So here we will see the choroid plexus of the fourth ventricle, that the actually what happens, the tela choroidea of the fourth ventricle, that is made up of two layers of the pia mater, and the superior, or you can say the dorsal layer, that lines the inferior vermis, and it reaches at the nodule, and it is reflected on itself to form the inferior or ventral layer. So when you will trace laterally, the dorsal layer that is continuous with the pia mater, that covering the cerebellar hemisphere, and the ventral layer that is continuous with the pia mater lining the medulla. So the choroid plexus of the fourth ventricle are actually very much similar in structure to those of the lateral ventricle and the third ventricle, and they lie within the folds of the dura mater that form the tela choroidea and project into the cavity of the fourth ventricle, that you can observe here from the lower part of the roof. So each plexus, right and the left, that consist of vertical limb, that you can observe here, that lying next to the midline, and a horizontal limb that extending into the lateral recess. The vertical limb of the two plexus that lie side by side, so that the whole structure, it is looking like a T shape. The lower end of the vertical limb that reach the median aperture and project into the subarachnoid space through it. The lateral end of the horizontal limb, that you can see here, reach the lateral aperture and can be seen on the surface of the brain near the flocculus. The area prostrema, that is believed to be the site of the vomiting center, and if you will find any tumors, that actually mostly common at the area prostrema and near the roof of the fourth ventricle. So you will find that the medulla and the tonsil of the cerebellum that come to lie in the vertebral canal, and the aperture in the roof of the fourth ventricle that can be blocked and leading to obstruction to flow of the cerebrospinal fluid and internal hydrocephalus. So the cranial nerves that arising from the medulla, they are stretched. This is a congenital anomaly, and it is often associated with the syringomyelia, and this condition is known as your Arnold-Chiari deformity. So here we have completed the fourth ventricle. So thanks for watching.